Hi guys, I'm now going to show you how to use the Slipstream system as an app user. You will see the Slipstream dashboard in front of you. You'll have your name as well as the navigation panel on the left-hand side. On this dashboard, what you are able to see is slips and claims, expense reports, as well as anything that you have had approved, as well as items that haven't been approved. You are also able to archive all of your items and access it on the dashboard. So if we go onto the left-hand side of the navigation panel, you start with expenses, and if you click on expenses, at the top in the middle of the screen, you're able to create an expense, you're able to create a travel expense, as well as able to create a report. It is really important for you to understand that you are not able to send an expense for approval without linking it to a report. So your approver will actually approve a report with a number of expenses on it. They won't approve one individual expense. So let's start off by going and creating an expense. You go to the top in the middle on the left hand side of the screen, you click on create expense. Here you can manually obviously create the expense. You are obviously also able to do all of this through the application on your smartphone. However, if you're going to do it on the dashboard, you simply click on the date and you put the date in, you put the details of the merchant name in, as well as the expense category, bearing in mind that all expense categories would have been already predefined by the administrator when they were setting up the system. Once you have done this, you pop in the amount, as well as how you incurred the cost, i.e. your payment method, whether you paid via cash, EFT, credit card, or company card. Once you have done that, you put additional descriptions and details as you deem fit and in line with your company policy, and you press the little black dot on the bottom to attach the proof of the slip. Once you have done this, you press save and you have got your expense which has been added. You'll get confirmation on the bottom right of the screen saying your expense has indeed been added. So now I'm going to take you through how to create a manual travel expense on the dashboard. So you go all the way to the top under expenses, you click the little plus button, create travel expense, and you're good to go. The system allows you to either create a travel expense through linking to Google Maps or putting in your manual odometer reading. Should you link to Google Maps, you click on the left under maps, you put your to as well as your from, so where you're traveling from actually and where you are going to, as well as the date, the trip type, whether it is one way or return, and you add details of the trip. What it will do is it will link on the back end in terms of the rate per kilometer that's reimbursable, and it will calculate that and link it to your claim. Should you do an odometer reading, you click on odometer, you put your starting odometer reading, your end odometer reading, the date, whether it's return or one way, as well as the descriptor, and you press save. Once you have created this, you will receive the confirmation on the bottom right of the screen, and you're good to go. So you can spend the day, week, month creating expenses and travel expenses, and if you are in a position that you need to send them for approval, then what you do is you create a report. So you will simply go under expenses or under reports, and at the top, on the top right, you click on the little plus button that says create report, and you create your report name. In this instance, I'm going to call it January 2018. This will be dependent on how regularly you submit reports for approval. So some companies will do it weekly, monthly, some will do it every 2 months. This is totally dependent. So I've said here January 2018, and I've pressed the little plus button, and we're good to go. You can see that your report has been created. Once you have created your report, what it will give you is all of the list of all expenses that haven't been linked to a report yet. What you will do is on the right, you will click on the little box and you will link the specific expenses to the report that you've just created. Once you've done that, you simply press save, and what you have done is you've created a report, you've linked the specific expenses to the report, and you are now ready to go and send it for approval should that be required. Further to that, so we have now covered expenses and created expenses. Directly under created expenses are archived expenses. These are obviously expenses that you have created but that you haven't sent for approval, nor have you linked to a report, and you've simply archived them. This could be for a means of tracking things. It could be simply to just keep track of personal information, work information, if you're running your own business, whatever the case might be. You can list expenses per supplier, date, week, whatever suits you. All right, so next section is to go under reports. So under reports, we've got created reports, which is what we have just done now. And if I click on created reports, I will see my report for January 2018. Currently, the progress will show that it is in draft. If I am in a position that I am ready to submit it for approval, I simply click on the report. On the right-hand side of the screen, the details of the report comes up, and I can either archive the report or I can submit it for approval. I am also able to obviously edit what is on that report, so should I wish to delete specific expense items that are on there, I go and click on the little red X and that expense item will be deleted from the report. If I press submit the report, what it will do is it will say report has been submitted and it will go into pending reports. Under pending reports, what it does now is it has notified the approver that the report needs to be approved, and we will wait for them to approve it accordingly. Once you have received approval of the report, you will go under approved reports and you will see all of your information. Directly under approved reports, you've obviously also got archived reports. This is dependent on how you are using the system, whether you're using it for claiming, etc., or whether you just keep using it for purposes of keeping information. Further to that, if we go back up to created expenses, I just want to take you through the various options in terms of editing an expense. So if we go and we create an expense again, and we put in the date, and we put in the merchant name, the expense category, we stipulate whether the claim is reimbursable or not, we put in the amount and the payment method, and the descriptor, and I save the expense, what it will do is it will give me an expense under created expenses. Now if I click on that expense, under maintenance, I've got 4 options. I can either, the little green with a pencil is either to edit the expense, the black box with the plus sign in it is to link the expense to a report, the red X is to obviously delete the expense, and then you've got your little archive box. So those are the options in which to edit or maintain your expense.